How's it going? Hey guys, you guys hear me all right? Can't believe it's Two-Stroke Tuesday already. I'm doing good, Nick. How are you? Very excited. Man, this has been a fast week, guys. Fast week. What's up, buddy? You gonna say hi?
Hello.
Well, we made the trip down to go see Harvey Spooner, and good. Go on, go do your thing. So we got the whatchamacallit there. We got the Hondas, and Harvey Spooner just posted a video today of him riding the KD80. So awesome. Another happy two-stroke bike up and running. But yeah. So now we're on to more awesomeness. So what we're going to be doing next is I was going to split the case. I'm going to split the case first on the whatchamacallit there, on Dave's bike, and then we're going to get Alvin's bike on this. So we're going to be splitting up the videos a little bit and a little bit. So we're going to be doing some Dave's, some Alvin's. Going to try to get those two bikes done kind of at the same time because we also have Robert's bike, that DT 400. He's doing some prep work on that, on some of the parts. So that's going to be a fun. That DT 400, that is a big bike. And I also have some performance videos coming up to show you guys what makes two strokes so powerful in comparison to the KD80 and the KD100, that family. And some cool things that you can do on your bike to get more power out of them. So we got a lot of that type of bench work we're going to be doing, and I'll be doing a lot of comparison videos. I got to find a time to get down there to do that, Nick. We'll touch base during the week. Send me out a what do you call it there? Send me a message and we'll figure out a time because I got to get those parts. I can really use those things, and I do appreciate that. Sorry about the stream cutting out. The internet here is kind of messed up. We have a very windy. It's very windy here in Massachusetts right now, and the lines are all over the place. So hopefully it stays on. I'm kind of concerned about that actually. Yeah, definitely want to get those done because I want to be working on those LT 125s relatively soon. Can't wait to get those. We're gonna do first starts on both of those bikes. So yeah, we got some stuff coming up, guys. So like I said, Dave's bike, we're gonna split the case on that this week. We're gonna get that done, and change out the bearings. And we show you guys how to check your cranks, and go through all that type of stuff. Those are very important to be able to check crankshafts, make sure that they're true. Swap out bearings. I know a couple of people would be doing bearings, and we also have, coincidentally, that KE 100 motor that I also have to do has the same problem with the growling of the bearings. So we want to get that done as well. So we have a lot of stuff, guys. We have a lot of projects, and of course we want to do those little Honda 50s in between all that. So basically from here on out, it's going to be a juggling match about which bike we're going to be doing. And out back, we still have that Suzuki DS 100 that I want to get in and get checked out. That bike's been sitting. So a lot of bikes that have been sitting. We have Harvey Spooner sent us up a Raz to work on. So we got to tear that down and find out what's going on with that. I could tell you right off the bat without even tearing it down, I know what happened. They took the air filter assembly off. So what happens when you take an air filter assembly off? Two things happen. When you remove your air filter assembly, dirt gets in there. So the engine has dirt ingestion. What does that do? That destroys the intake side of the piston. It's going to be all scratched up. That's what we're going to see out of that motor. The motor's going to have low compression because of that. Also, it didn't have an air filter. So what else happens? Tell you what happens. Creates a lean condition because now the engine's getting more air than fuel, and now we're going to see scoring on the exhaust side. Those are what I'm expecting to see out of that little Raz. So what are we going to do with it? Well, he wants to fix it for his son, so we're going to go ahead and tear it all down. We know where the lean condition was generated from. It ran fine until it didn't, and it ran awful after he removed the air filter assembly. They lost it, couldn't find it. He'd been working on the bike, couldn't get it going, can't figure it out. We know what the problem is. I guarantee that bike's going to have spark, and the carburetor is going to be all right. It's going to be clean. I'm not worried about. Yeah, I'm going to throw it in the ultrasonic cleaner because it had dirt ingestion. But that carburetor is not going to need a kit. It's going to be 100% fine. But when we put that back on the RAS, I know what the problem is with that bike. I could feel it when I kicked it over. It's got very low compression. Right over here, buddy.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So, yeah, that's what's going to happen with that. That thing is definitely going to need to be rebuilt. So we're going to be looking at a piston rings and possibly a cylinder, which gaskets, and whole air filter assembly. Okay. Just give my little guy a drink. There you go. Take that and put this away.
All right.
So we got that little bike. That is a nice little bike. I never seen a scooter that small. That thing is tiny. That thing must be whipping around corners like crazy. So what do you guys got for projects going on? What are you guys working on? Anything you guys working on? Nick, what are you working on? Anything good? All the time I'm talking about my problems with the bikes that I'm doing. I want to hear about what you guys are doing. I want to see what you guys are up to. This is what we do this, talk about things. We also have that Suzuki RM 125, Suzuki RM 250, and I'm going to show you guys the ignition on that. The flywheel is literally about the diameter of this water bottle, and the electronics of it are outside, and it's a motocross bike, so they're outside of it. And what do you call it there? I'll show you guys how they speed up and all that. So there's all these performance parts. The carburetor is a Mikuni TM, and it's a 36 millimeter. So they put a lot of work in it. And that engine is bored out 80 over. So it's technically a 290 cc. But yeah, it's crazy. I'm going to show you guys some stuff that you guys probably have never seen before. Old school machining, old school performance. And it's crazy. I can only imagine what this bike must have had, like close to 30. Yeah, you can have
this popcorn for you.
All right, thanks, buddy. Must have had close to 30 horsepower. That thing is crazy. He must have been hauling with that thing. Just hauling. I can't imagine. Unbelievable. So, can you guys see me all right? Everything all right up there? I'm looking at them. I'm not sure if it's all coming through all right. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty crazy. Let's see, yeah. Just trying to make sure I'm still connected here. All right. So yeah, we are going to hit 1 million views this week. Actually, I was checking it, and I am at what do you call it there? 1,400 views away from 1 million. Thank you guys. This has been an amazing adventure. I never thought I didn't think it was going to take off like this. It's crazy. What's some of the other things we did? We got we're going to be working on Alvin's bike. Like I said, in between, he had some ignition problems with his bike, and he really hasn't had it run. He hasn't heard it run. He bought the bike and didn't know anything about the bike, and found out it was a weak spark, and then kind of said, "Okay, nope, Kevin, can I bring it up to you?" Absolutely, and he brought it up to me, and now we have Alvin's bike, which we've had it here. But we're going to be turning some wrenches on that pretty soon because it's kind of in the way. I want to get that done. I know. I couldn't believe. I can't believe it's going to be a million views. I mean, especially for me, I don't classify myself as that YouTuber that I don't have all that fancy stuff in the background. You get the bubbles here and say, hey, whatever. I don't have that on my channel. My channel is just a basic channel. I mean, we're doing great stuff. We're helping people out. We're doing builds and we're making bikes run again, and we're building bikes all over the world. I mean, I got people from the Philippines, Pakistan, UK, Canada, Mexico, all over the world. I mean, I never thought that this channel would reach so many people, and people like what I'm doing. So we're going to keep doing that, and this is just one of those things that we get to build on. And it's just crazy. I The support that I get from you guys has been amazing. In fact, someone sent me parts for the K. I'm not. They don't want. They don't want to be named, which is fine, and I appreciate that. But they had some extra parts kicking around and mailed them to me. I didn't even have the bikes yet. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, no, yeah, I'm definitely getting the bikes. He's like, I got the exhaust system. I got this. Amazing. Blown away. Thank you, Lang. Good day to you too. Yeah, I mean, this has been crazy. We got the little Honda 50s now, and now that's what we're doing. Thank you. I tell you, the KD, the KE and the KM have been my favorite bikes. Those are what I started with. Those were my first loves. The KD80, and to be able to do these bikes and show you guys all the families that go along with that bike and build a channel off of a bike that is not even popular has been amazing. And through this, it's made popular. I mean, it's a popular bike, and I'm still watching YouTube. There's a couple of people on YouTube that are starting to do these bikes, and it's just crazy. Yeah, don't keep collecting these bikes. Eventually, they will be worth something. Um, they're a fun bike. They're not really super rare. They're getting kind of harder to find, but they're not like oh my god, I cannot find this bike. No, they're around there. So collect them now because they are getting harder and harder to find, which is another reason why I started this channel, because nobody's fixing these bikes on YouTube. So we have this channel. We're going to keep teaching all these things. We're going to keep building these bikes as we get them. And I've been getting a lot of comments on the fact that I go through the bike thoroughly. And well, I'm teaching you guys how I do it because I want you guys to have that same experience. If you do them the way that I'm doing and go step by step by step by step until the job is finished, you're going to have yourself a great bike. I mean, first kick bike, boom, you know. And I see a lot of people who don't understand the points ignition, and that is okay. Not your coil. Points, condenser, spark plug. I preach that all the time. Replace those first. Always, always change the cheapest part first. Even on your car. If you're working on something in your car and they say, okay, Kevin, I'm working on my car and this is broken. So there's this part, and this part I have to fix. Fix the cheapest one first. See if that fixes it. Because oftentimes that's what happens. A little rule of thumb whenever you're buying parts, okay? If the part is more expensive, that is most likely the part that is not the problem. The parts that are cheaper is because those are the parts that are mass produced because that's been a common problem. Keep that in mind. And points, condenser, and spark plug, that is a tune-up. So when I bring a bike in for a tune-up, what I'm looking when I tune up, when someone says, Kevin, can you tune up a bike? Sure. Yeah. What do you got? I got a KM100. Okay. So that bike is going to get brand new points, brand new condenser. It's going to get brand new spark plug. brand new air filter. I'm going to change the oil. I'm going to check the tire pressures, check the tires, check the spokes, check the vent on the oiler. I'm going to go right through. I'm going to check all the cable adjustments, the clutch adjustment, the throttle adjustment, the timing between the carburetor and the oil pump. I'm going to go right through this bike step by step. Chain deflection, chain, sprockets, back and front. We're going to go through this entire bike. And that's what you should be doing on your bike. So that's part of a tune-up. And I'm going to be doing a video on tuning up a bike. And I'm going to do one on points and CDI because there's only a couple little differences, but I'm going to point them out. Yes, on eBay they sell a set of them for the bike. Now I'm not really too familiar with the way they're measuring their tires now because they have this 90/100 crap because they went full on metric with them or something. But I'll get you the tire sizes because my KM has brand new tires on that, and I got to buy that same set of tires for my KD80. So I'll get you that information. Just send me an offline or a email, and I'll send you those tire sizes. Yeah, you want to definitely make sure you get a nice set of tires. Shinko, I think they are. Which Shinko tires are made by Yokohama, and they're really good tires, and they're cheap. They weren't bad. I think I paid, I want to say like 50 for the pair. One was 35, the other one was like whatever it was. So it was pretty cheap. So yeah, no, there's a lot of tire brands out there. I don't really go with unless if you're gonna ride it around your yard and not ride it on the street. I actually registered my my KM. I ride my KM and I ride my KE on the street. So those get top, more better named tire. My KD80 really is a yard mule. I ride that around the yard. My little bikes, my whatchamacallit there, my KV75, that you can ride on the road. Excuse me. That you can drive on the street, but I don't put, top of the line tires. It's a mini bike. I'm not really going to take that to the store. I would never leave that bike outside by itself unattended. Let's see. Yeah, so I'll get you that information on that tire. Tires are pretty easy to swap. I've done. Geez, I use my a big clamp. If you get them stuck on the bead, you can break them down with a C clamp. And you just go in all three spots of the tire, and it'll crush it down, and then you'll be able to take it off no problem. Never use a flathead screwdriver when you're doing that either. You can pick up a really nice short set of tire forks, tire spoons, and I think they're like $20 on eBay. So check eBay because they got a lot of cool tools on there that you can get for these bikes pretty cheap. Not affiliated with them by any chance, so you guys know. But yeah, we got some cool stuff coming up. So tomorrow night I'm gonna clean the bench up. I already took the stuff off the bench, like all the Hondas, got them all cleaned off. We're gonna clean that up, put the table back together, and separate that case on that that what do you call it, at the TS 125 for Dave. Get that stripped down and get that crank out of there. And then after we do that video, then probably the next one will be working on Alvin's bike and checking out that ignition because we have a lot of stuff. We got a lot of parts coming in. Parts have been crazy, guys. The parts have been absolutely mind blowing. I got a really nice set of lights donated for a Suzuki, which I'm going to use on the DS 100. Marker lights, actual Suzuki mirrors, a lot of new old stock stuff. So I thought that was pretty cool. Did a clean out, and the guy said, "Whatever you want, I'll take any bike part you got." I don't really have any bikes in the forecast that we're going to go pick up. Kind of on that dull time of year now, where nobody's really getting rid of any bikes. I say that tomorrow I'll probably have another bike. I'm not hunting for bikes. but I don't have any per se in the future going to pick up. So, I won't be getting anything new, and we're going to be concentrating on what we have. We have a lot of builds: Dave's, Elvin's, Roberts, mine. We have on mine. We have the DS100, the DS80 with the bad crank bearings. We have a whole. Todd from GTZ Garages sent up a whole complete running engine for the DS80. So I'm at a crossroad. Do I just throw the new motor on there and then have the other motor for parts? Do I build both of them and have a spare engine? What do I do here? So what I decided I was going to do, we're going to throw the DS motor I got from GTC Garages. We're going to throw that engine. We're going to clean it, set it up, throw it on there. Oh, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Throw that DS80 motor on that frame, and what we're going to do is we're going to take the DS80 that's on there, and I already got the bearings, I already got the seals, and I already got the gaskets, but there is some cylinder damage because the problem with that motor is the carburetor wasn't seated into the boot, and that created a lean condition. Now, everybody's like, Kevin, you always talk about these lean conditions. I do talk about these. Oh, you're very welcome. Facebook is a good place to get in contact with me. Send me messages, and I make sure I get back to you guys. I'm always talking about lean conditions. Lean conditions will literally burn up an engine, and this one almost burnt up. It wasn't. It lost power, and he just it made that noise, and he stopped with it, and then it sat, and luckily it rained out. This is where the rain helped that motor out. Rain actually helped that engine. What happened was he ran it with no air filter. Water got in the carburetor, and it was water at the jet. No fuel could get into the motor. That saved it. It did do a little damage prior to that with when he rode it with the bad boot, but he didn't burn it up. So now the cylinder is good, but the piston is junk. So we'll throw a piston in it, quick hone, new gaskets, new rings, new piston, the crank bearings, the crank seals, reset that all back up. Got ourselves a great bike. The bike that I got from GTZ Garages, he sent that up with me. He gave me the motor, the carburetor, and the air filter box with a nice air filter in it. Literally the whole entire thing: handlebars, oil tank, the whole shooting match. So when it comes to putting that when it comes time to be putting that DS80 together, we have everything. So like the little balls that are broken off the off the clutch and the brake lever, we have those. So that's a really super cool thing. We have those. We have all the parts and pieces that are broken on this bike are actually sitting on the seat. Now, the next payout that I get from YouTube, we're actually buying a rack. We're going to put the rack out in the back where the bikes hibernate, and we'll be putting the mini bikes on top of the racks, and then the big bikes underneath. And that's going to allow us to be able to get back there and work and get these bikes. So this all helps us out. What I do with the bikes, and like my GT80, I've been getting parts for the GT80. I take those parts, like the ignition switch was bad. They bypassed the ignition switch, so it's on all the time, and you have to use the kill switch on the handlebars. I bought a new ignition switch for it, so we have to install that. So all these parts of these bikes, as we get them, sit on top of them. And I was out back, and this is what happens when you have a lot of bikes. You forget you have other bikes. So I was out back, and guess what I ran into? Yep, the Yamaha Chappie. I still got the LB50, and we have to build that bike. We have to get that thing done. In fact, I found the carburetor too the other day. I wasn't looking for it. I happened to come across. I'm like, oh, LB50. So we have that bike to do. So throughout the winter, normally last winter when I was building bikes and doing things, it really slowed down. I slowed down on the videos. I wasn't making them every week. I wasn't doing a whole lot of them. Now we'll be doing bikes straight through the winter, guys. I do use eBay a lot. Craigslist sometimes. Craigslist is a little hard to find because um, when it comes to Craigslist, people don't like to get back to you. And of course, this whole Corona thing, you know, people have just been acting really weird. So with Craigslist, but a lot of people have been. When I put out, I call like my people that I deal with all the time. Some of the places that if you're gonna get motorcycle parts, Rick's Motorcycle has a large variety. So you can go on to ricksmotorcycle.com and they have motorcycle parts, not dirt bike parts, but motorcycle parts. Dirt bike parts, I do eBay. So the places I look for bikes and parts on, I'm giving up all my secrets, guys. This is a good one. So I go to eBay. Amazon actually has a lot of good parts. What do you call it there? GTZ garages. I have what you had. You almost hit somebody. You almost hit that guy. GTZ garages, Rick's Motorcycle. Oh, geez, watch out! Sorry, guys, he almost hit you with his cranium. And I literally look. All right, no more now. I look on all these websites, Partzilla. If I need a part, I'll go to. Guys, want a secret? I'll tell you a secret. If you want to look up a part number for your bike, okay, listen very carefully. Go on to partzilla.com. Okay, partzilla.com. When you're on Partzilla, you type in your year, make, your model, like you're going to buy a part. All right. It literally gives you a breakdown of all the parts and pieces. So, say you're looking for carburetor, right? Oh, my float is bad. I need a float. Partzilla.com. Go on your bike, get your part number, take your part number, go on to eBay, type it in there, and boom, there you go. Now you can find your new old stock stuff right there. And Partzilla does dirt bikes, mini bikes, KV75s, MT1s, DS80s, Suzuki, Yamaha, all the brands. So Partzilla is a great tool to have to look up parts. So that is a very helpful tip. Especially when you can look up your part numbers. Then you can search around. You can put it on, you can go anywhere and look. Your cylinder plug. I don't have anything for sale at the moment. No cylinders for sale. A 90cc, the last 90cc I had cylinder is actually on the KDE 90 that I made. Oh, for the Chappie? No, I don't. I wish I did. That would be cool. I have a whole complete Yamaha Chappie, except for the seat. I need a seat and exhaust for it. And that's kind of where I left off on that. The ignition switch is Mickey Mouse and some other things. I'm going to have to put together a parts list for that one. But I do have a whole Chappie. I had it running. It was leaking fuel out of the carburetor. It turns out there was a pinhole in the bowl. And we're going to have to go through all that. So that's going to be another one. It's going to be, and the brakes are locked up. So it rolls about a half a rotation on the wheel and then locks up. So we'll be working on the Chappie. And turns out the Chappie has a lot of parts that are compatible with the MT50 Suzuki. So, which is what I'm actually looking for, which is another mini bike. So I'm looking for a few mini bikes. I'm looking for a CT70, an MT50 Suzuki, CT70 and MT50 are the two. Two bikes I'm looking to do. So we got some stuff, guys. We got a lot of stuff I'm looking to get. I just picked up a plow yesterday too, so that was cool. I actually have a couple of videos on that, and when I do my KE, if you look at my KE 102 videos, you'll see I did that. I made a 12-volt conversion. Um, I'm actually working on making a plate. I'm actually designing to adapt all of these bikes. The KD, if you want to put lights on that, that'll be available. The plate that I'm working on is going to accommodate a CDI ignition and 12-volt upgrade. So that is something I'm working on, and I'm working to build that into a kit. I'm financially, I'm not making nothing on this channel, you know, and with the whole COVID thing not working, so um, it's a slow process. But I have the plate designed, and I know where I can get the parts. And check out my KE 102 build, and you'll see how I did the plate. In fact, I even have the part numbers and everything. But there's a little bit of modification on the plate that you have to do. But it's available. It'll be available soon. That's what I'm working on in 2021. CDI ignitions, and um, it's a simple one wire. Basically my goal for that 12-volt conversion is a simple direct fit plug and play. So you bolt it in, you change the coil, and you plug it right into your harness. I don't want to be modifying harnesses. So the parts that will be changed out would be like the horn, the light bulbs, the headlight bulb, um, the the directionals, the brake light bulb, all the same fixture, just like the 1129 would be like an 1156, you know, those type of things. You'd be changing light bulbs out. The voltage regulator will be changed out. The battery. My KE 102 bike is going to be using, ready for this, guys? The battery that I'll be using in that build is going to be a Milwaukee M12 battery. That's the battery I'll be using. So the cordless drills that I use, that same battery will be used on that bike to run it. It's not electric start, so it doesn't have to have high amperage, but coincidentally, that is a high amperage battery. So if it was electric start, I'd be able to use that. So pretty cool. I'm looking forward to doing that. Looking forward to getting back into it. The part came in. I just have to have it welded. The machine shop built the sprocket because that bike is now has high and low gears. So it's an actual 10-speed. In the middle of 2021, we're planning on designing, my brother and I. My brother's going to help me with this one, so you'll be seeing a lot of my brother on this build. We're building a KEC 100. You're probably saying, what the heck is a KEC 100? The C is for chariot. I am building, and it's my first build I've ever done from the ground up, so the frame will be different. We're building a chariot bike. Probably saying, what the heck is a chariot bike? I'll tell you. It's a KE 100 motor, 5-speed, automatic. Yep. And you won't have a seat to sit on. It's going to be for a wheelchair with 4 wheels. Okay? It's going to be neat. Yes, I did have a 2-stroke runaway on me. In fact, it almost killed me. I had picked up about 2.5, 3 years ago. No, I'm sorry, more like 4 or 5. But I picked up a Kawasaki G3 SS90. Okay, the bike had no brakes. The ignition I bypassed personally to get the engine running. I wanted to try it out. Saying, what the heck going on here? So I got the bike running. I took the black wire off the magneto, ran it right up to the coil, so there was no kill switch. The cables on the bike were all old cables, and the throttle was a little tight to move. I had no brakes, by the way, guys. So I was at that blue mobile I was living in Epping, and I get out in the main street with it. The bike wasn't registered or nothing. I get going on the bike. I got the bike running, got it out in the street, and I'm going through the gears. What do you think happens? That tight throttle cable, it got even tighter to the point where I couldn't even go back and kill it. So I am riding this bike. I'm in fifth gear, and I am hauling. Okay, I'm coming up on a stoplight, and I'm like, "What am I going to do? I've got no brakes." And what I was doing to slow down is I put the clutch in, and then just kind of let the bike naturally slow down and dethrottle. Well, that didn't happen. My clutch cable broke, my throttle cable stuck, and I was screwed. So what did I do? I reached down between the motor, I grabbed that jumper wire and I ripped it out. But when I did that, the whole bike was doing one of these numbers. And finally, I'm like, that's it. I'm not dumping this bike. I just grabbed it and straightened it out and then used my body to balance it. Oh my God, guys, that was scary. I have had one other runaway bike, which was a bad crank seal. And in fact, you guys can see a small runaway motor. If you want to watch a runaway, Patrick, you can look at the Dave's bike. So Dave's TS 125. When I was checking it out with the headlight and all that to find out what was going on, the bike was just sitting there idling, perfectly fine. And this is how I found out it was a crank seal. That thing just started to tack out, and I had to go over and kill the ignition switch. So yeah, they can run away. They can run away. Yep, it is. The two-stroke can definitely run away on you. So, and it's one of those things you have to act quick. Just like in a diesel, you have to act quick. If you have a diesel that runs away, you got to rip that air filter off and put a piece of cardboard or something right over that intake and kill it that way. Because other than that, they'll do it. If you get oil in a diesel, that's the turbo goes out and that seal is just pissing oil into the motor, it's going to run away on you. And there's nothing you can do about it unless you cover up, block off the air. But it's scary. It is scary. Especially when you don't expect it. If you're working on a bike like Dave's bike, that came in for that problem. He told me I had that problem when I got it. But the green bike there, the what do you call it? There's a 90cc. I didn't expect that. In fact, that motor, that cylinder, not the motor, but the cylinder, is on the KDE 100 I made. That bike is a fun bike, CDI, 90 cc's, and it's a stripped down version. There's nothing on it. Some upcoming stuff, guys. Upcoming 2019. I'm sorry, 29. What the hell is wrong with me? 2021 is going to be a great year for us. This is the first year that I'm going to actually be hosting a motorcycle run on the Kangamangas Highway, going through the White Mountains of New Hampshire, and I'm still working on the details of that. That's going to be later on in the summer, and there's campsites, and it's going to be a cool, fun time for people to bring their bikes. I got my truck, so we're gonna be trucking a whole bunch of bikes. I got a big trailer. We're gonna be throwing a whole bunch of bikes on that and taking them up there. It'll be a camp out, all kinds of stuff, food, drink, all that stuff, and we're gonna have some good times coming up. So, I think that'd be a cool, fun thing. Hang out and hit some trails, do some stuff. So, and I've gotten a couple of calls into the New Hampshire Fish and Game. So to see if I can get some temporary licenses for those who come up, because in New Hampshire you have your regular street registration, and then you have to register them for off road. But they do special events and stuff like that. So I'm going to see if they can help me with some of that. But those will all be posted. That'll be a big deal. We are approaching 4,700 subscribers, which is amazing. Thank you guys for all your support. Your support is really what makes this channel. The more you guys feedback, the more I want to do. So, and part of that is, I see the love that you guys have for the channel, and I see the love that you guys have for what I do. And to be able to share this experience with you guys is a blessing. And I want to keep growing that. I want to keep nurturing that. I want to keep building and doing all kinds of things. I am doing a plethora of other bikes. The KE100 is what built this channel, so we're going to keep doing that sort of thing. Yeah, I know, right? You would think we should do a movie. Actually, I was thinking about doing a couple of specials where I take a bike as it is, doing a live video and getting it running right then and there. It's Ian. I'm not really sure how to pronounce that name. You're in the UK. Oh, nice, good. I have an A10 tank on a P11. Now that's the old bubble style tank, and you're saying in place of the newer style with the more, I call it the triangle cut tank. They have different mounts. So I believe the mounts on the A10 are lower than the B11, and I know the backs are different. So one has a strap. Honestly, you can take most tanks that are generally the same size and kind of modify them to fit. I should do a video on that. That would be a great idea. I'm probably going to do about a video on that because you can take other tanks. You don't have to have you can take a DS Suzuki DS 100 tank and modify a KE 100 tank to fit it. In fact, that's probably what I'm going to do with mine because I need a tank for my DS 100 and nobody has a tank. Anyway, I can't find a tank for my DS 100. They're different because they have a screw-on style. But I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to do a video on modifying other tanks to fit your bikes because you can make these bikes different. You're not married to that one tank. There's so many modifications that you can do to these bikes that you can't fathom them all. Like different tanks, different structures, different frames. You're not married to this. Like if you look, you have to set up yourself. So what I mean by that is when I was building the Andrew bike build, I'll revert to that bike. I set up with some perimeters, no drilling holes in the frame. The bike has to work as it did with the original motor. It's got to be a two-stroke. It's got to use the oil tank, so it's got to be an oil injection two-stroke. And the engine I picked for was a 50cc. So I'm using on the Andy bike build, which the frame is a Kawasaki MT1 or KV75, and I put on there a KDX 50 engine to make that bike a 50cc for Andrew. And I have the original motor that came off of it. I just wanted to do something different. So you're not married to what you have. Okay, you can change up what you have. If I did a movie, by the way, I don't know what I would do. It'd probably be awful. I'm not a big the way my mind thinks, it'd be terrible. But yeah, we have some cool ideas for videos, and I got a ton of requests. But I think that within the next year, because every year I'm trying to take the channel to a new level, a big level up. I want to take it to a different level. I want to keep the roots, but I want to grow them into something bigger. And like I said, you don't know what's coming. Like I wanted to do some Hondas. Harvey Spooner helped me out. And I said, he doesn't like to get rid of bikes. He doesn't. And especially if they say Honda on. He's a big Honda fanatic. He's a Honda nut. When you talk about Honda, Harvey Spooner's your guy. And he doesn't get rid of stuff. Everything, he just did recently, he got rid of a couple of mini bikes, but and the two that I got. But he doesn't get rid of bikes. And I'm fortunate to have him as a friend and a mentor to help me out because he rescued those bikes. He rescued them from a flea market or from a friend, and he was able to salvage those bikes. And although they're in rough shape, they never made it to the dump. They never made it to the scrapyard. They never got crushed. They never got shredded. To me, they deserve to live. And then one of my subscribers had a spare engine he wasn't doing anything with. He's like, I need the flywheel. I got this extra engine. I don't need it. He gave it to me. I got an extra engine. So now the Japanese gods are saying, Kevin, here, you're the guy. Get both of them going. So now, to appease the Japanese motorcycle gods, I have to get both bikes up and going. Boy, probably putting a lot on your plate. But we're going to. We're going to strip both bikes down completely. Go right through the frames, find out what's going on, what they need to be done. Like on the black bike, the black frame down bottom has a lot of rust. We're going to sandblast. We're going to repaint. We're going to go right through these bikes, put them all back together. What they need. I need kickstands, fenders. Excuse me. Long day. All kinds of cool stuff we need for that bike. So we're going to do that. Now, there will be some Chinese knockoff stuff on there. I can't help that. I'm not paying $300 for a cover when I can get that same cover for $50, you know? So I want to make sure that the main stuff I get is going to be Honda. The cheap stuff is going to be cheaper, you know, unless I can find a brand name cheaper. But I'm not looking to go, oh, cheap. Excuse me. Like I said, it's been a very long day. Use the KD performance videos. Yes. Yeah, there's nothing I did to that KE102 that you couldn't do. It's expensive. You know, you bore a aluminum cylinder and then you have to have it renicosyled. And then I bought the piston. So I'm into that. I'm into the top end of that motor for about $400. The ignition system is a CDI. The bike originally is 11 horsepower. I have an aftermarket exhaust. So the exhaust system that I have is an actual KE exhaust, you know, not modified, but made for that particular bike build. And I got that from GTZ Garages. He had that one kicking around, and I bought that off him for $50. I almost fell over. I'm like, you got what? A Kawasaki, an actual performance exhaust built for a Kawasaki? I bought it. I couldn't help it. The KM100 has about the same horsepower. Very close. I think it's like 9 or 10. And, well, I'm going to show you guys some performance stuff on that because my yellow KM100, I'm going to be doing a lot more cool stuff to that next year. And that bike also is CDI. All my bikes are CDI except for my white bike, which is the new, not new, but the 1987 KE100. That one is points. And my MT1 Kawasaki, the 75, that right there is a also points. But those, I'm not changing them. I'm not going to be keeping the white bike. So my brother Clay is going to help me. I built that bike to mock up the exhaust, to finish off that custom exhaust that we're making. And my brother Clay is going to finish welding that off. The idea behind that bike is we're going to finish off that bike completely. And I have the factory exhaust for that bike. Now, what we're going to do is after I make that exhaust, I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to do a video on how to jet a carburetor for customization. After we do that, we're going to take the exhaust off, put the proper jet back into the, or not proper, but the actual jet that came out of it back into it. We're going to put that exhaust back onto it, and then we're gonna take that bike and we're gonna give it to my brother. He don't even know he's getting it. Yes, I will. If you look at my KE 102 build, you'll see a lot of that. But yeah, we're gonna be documenting everything I do that I'm discussing with you guys right now will be on video. So I will be doing a lot of that type of stuff. There's a lot of snow machines. I used to do them all the time until I got my CDL Class A and became a oil delivery driver. Then I hate winter. So I spend all day and a lot of the night outside bringing oil to people. And I stopped doing snowmobiles because I was outside too much. And I lost the love for the outdoor winter. If anything, I'd love to move to Florida. Then I'd be doing crazy bikes. The Yamaha Panther. That is Phaser. That is a great snow machine. A great snow machine. That is basically I call it my indestructible one. I had one, and it had a oh yeah, I remember what it was. It had a kink in the oil line for the automatic oiler on that thing. Oh my god, that engine would heat up, seize up. You let it cool, and this is how I got the bike. You let the thing cool, and then it would fire right back up again, like nothing ever happened to it. So the guy I got the bike off of. Now I used to live up in the White Mountains in New Hampshire, so up in Lancaster, and I said, "What in the heck is going on?" The guy goes, "I don't know," and it didn't make any noise. It didn't like knock or anything like that. It just simply slowed down, came to a stop because it was getting some oil, just not enough, and it just stopped. So I said, "Well, let's not keep doing that. Let's take a look." Oh, the guy's like, "Oh, I do it like 100 times." He started to go down the street with it. The thing would stop and I drop. I go, "What?" And yeah, that's what happened. You're welcome, Patrick, and thank you. You're welcome. I'm grateful to help you guys and teach you guys. Yeah. So, oh, you get a. Yeah, you're gonna have yourself a good bike. And you know what? The nice thing about that bike, not the bike, the snow machine. There are literally millions of them. I mean, that right there was probably one of the most produced machines. I mean, they're everywhere. They have a couple on Craigslist in my area. They got a black one with the blue stripes there. That's gonna be a nice machine. They have some great versions of that. And a lot of different options too you can put on that thing. Heated hand grips, heated seat, all kinds of stuff. I had the guy put a cigarette lighter on. I thought this was cool. He put a cigarette lighter on. He modified his with an electric start. I don't know if they came with electric start, but he modified his so it had electric start. And what he would do, he'd have a battery charger, and it had a cigarette lighter adapter on it. So to charge a battery, he'd stick it into the cigarette lighter and just turn his charger on. And that's how he charged on his truck. He did the same thing. He charged his pickup truck through a cigarette lighter. Thought that was pretty neat. So yeah, no, you're gonna have yourself some. That's a great and my videos also cover that. The same fundamentals that you use on the bikes, two-stroke wise, you go through them the same way. The bike is what do you call it? The 91. So I believe that's CDI. But it's the same thing. The air cooled two strokes, different oil though, different oil. Actually, no. If your machine is air cooled and oil injection, it would be the same. A lot of those were. I think he put a formula motor. That's what it was. He put a formula motor on it. That's what he did. Yeah, that was what motor did he use on that? I think that yeah, now it's coming back to me. It was a 340 he put on that thing. 340. Two cylinder. And How big is? Yeah, it was a different motor, but yeah, it was a nice. Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could. That's a. Yeah, that's a fun machine. You can build that thing. So, what else you guys working on? You guys got some cool stuff. Got a phaser. That the KM. What I always liked about my KM, it literally handles like a dream. You're right there on the ground. I mean, you're low. You know, when you're riding that on the street, though, wear something bright. Don't wear something like this. Don't wear something dark because you got to remember you're low to the ground on that KM. So if you ride your bike on the streets and you're riding a mini bike, wear something loud. Wear don't do pink, guys. Don't do pink. But get yourself a Kawasaki green jacket. Team green jacket or something. Wear something bright. Be seen. Even like my bike is yellow, and I wear yellow when I'm on. I put a raincoat on. Put a raincoat on. Even if it's not raining, throw it on. Just so you're seen because you're so low. And trucks, they really can't see you all that well, and they'll get really close to you. So, which makes me nervous. The other thing with that KM, you can put a bigger sprocket on the back. I have a 47 tooth on mine, and that thing takes off like just goes. And top speed on that 55, 60 or 47, and a 16 tooth on the front. So I just changed that over. We have so back on builds. We're going to be putting a set of mirrors on the KV75 and wiring up the lights to make that work. We have all those bikes out back there. They all need something, something, whether it be a hand grip or clutch cable or something on those lines. That's what we do. We go right through them. DT. It misses when you rev it up. That could be your timing. On the DT75, you get well, you could be a couple of things. First thing I would do, whenever someone says the motor's missing, change your spark plug first. Change spark. The spark plugs, they're the most simplest but most complex piece of anything, any part of that bike. The spark plug is what will get you, okay? Because a spark plug, when you pull it out, you stick it on top of the cylinder head and you're looking for the spark, you'll see a spark. Oh, spark plug's good. Screw it back in. Then you go start the bike. It's not firing. I got fuel. I got compression. What the heck is going on? What happens is inside that spark plug is a resistor. So in the porcelain, there's a resistor in there. That resistor wears out. It shorts out. It gets fouled out. Something happens with that resistor. Now, you're seeing the spark because the spark is jumping over the resistor and then bridging the gap, but it's not hot enough to burn. So the spark plug's like, I'm good, but it's really not good. So change your spark plug first if it's missing. And the other thing to do, if it's still missing afterwards, do a compression test. Go through your checks. It's missing at high speed. So what else is at high speed? Check your carburetor. Maybe you got some moisture in there, some droplets of water, and they're trying to get up through that main jet, and the main jet's saying, "Whoa, hold on, Becky, you're not going up that main jet." There's a mess. You know what I'm saying? So check your carburetor, take the bowl off, do a fuel sample, see what type of fuel you're getting. Change out your spark plug. I would do the spark plug first. Always do your plug first. Always. I can't tell you guys enough. I've had bikes that ran perfectly fine one day, and then the very next time I went to fire it up, it ran like absolute crap. Pop the plug out, pop a new plug in it. Off you go. 2 strokes eat up plugs. Just inevitable. Just inevitable. And I can't wait to get into the performance video that I have coming up for you guys very, very soon on the differences between motocross and regular on road and what you can do on your KE, your KM to make them more powerful. Actually, any two-stroke you can do this stuff too. So yeah, we got some stuff coming up, guys. You're gonna be blown away. We're gonna caught up with a little bit of these projects though because we're getting kind of backed up. I have a lot of stuff. My wife's like, "Are you done buying bikes?" I'm all done buying bikes. I've got enough work to do to last us throughout the entire winter and into the summer, but we're still taking in bikes. So I'm done buying bikes, but I'm taking in bikes. We get bikes all the time. We don't know what's coming in the door. So it's just one of those things that we have to deal with, you know. And of course, I say I'm not getting any bikes, but you know me. Sometimes you see a bike, you got to get it, and you just can't help it. And that's where I'm at. I just can't help myself. Sometimes I try. I just suck at not buying bikes or getting bikes. I just can't help it. It's like it's a drug. Once you get bit by that bug, you can't help it. And well, for instance, I went out back the other day to see what was going on in the shed. You know, make sure everything's all good. How you doing, James? And what did I find? I found my Suzuki two-cylinder. It's a TS 250. Okay. Hey, whoa, whoa, whoa! Watch out with that cranium. You're gonna hurt somebody with that thing. Boy, they would just stand there, and all of a sudden, a big cranium comes in the way. So, all right, I'm doing my video, buddy.
Boopity.
All right, go do your thing. So we're gonna be doing a video on getting that going. That has excellent compression. It's got dual points, one for each cylinder, and I'll be doing a breakdown on that. What am I gonna do with that motor? I don't know. I'm probably gonna sell that motor or trade that motor. It's not something I'm gonna put on a bike, but we're gonna do that. Oh, thank you, Mario. I appreciate that. Yeah, the KD 100. Now, the KD 100 and the KM 100 are brother and sister. Same bike. Just one's off road, one's on road. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, back on that bike, I got the carburetors and everything on that Suzuki. So we're gonna be doing a fire up. Gonna go through the whole motor, test it, and we're gonna pressure test it. Go through the whole entire step by step process to see if it's a good motor, a good valuable motor, and then we're gonna probably trade it off or do something with it. I'm looking to do over the summer a bike build and waiting for a video. Yeah, I don't have a KE 175. I have the KE 125, which is basically it's the same bike. We're gonna be. Oh yeah, the build. Yeah, the build is a KE 102 build. That is going to be a great bike with the tachometer and everything. Yeah, the Alvin's bike is the 125. We're going to be doing a compare. We're going to get his bike going. We're going to do a comparison bike. 125 to 100. Show you guys the differences and what all the stuff is and what they improved on, what they didn't improve on, what they should have improved on. We're going to do a whole comparison, bike to bike, video on that, and it's gonna be a fun bike. Yeah, there's I wouldn't really modify the rotor on that unless you plan on going all the way on that bike. And what I mean by that is, and I have to do a video on that as well because that is a great topic, Mario. So the rotor on the bike is set up for the stock system, stock setup. A lot of time you just want to modify one part. So you first go for the rotary valve, and then you want to modify that. If you don't modify the rest of it that goes along with that rotary valve, you could actually lose power. And I'll be doing videos on all that and what to do and how to get these bikes to breathe better. That's really what it comes down to. Yeah, the 175 and the 250s. Yeah, the unfortunately, I don't have any 175s or 250s. They're not exactly like it, but the same fundamentals you apply to those, to the 175 and the 250. I do. I have a tuned pipe for the for my KE 102 build. And in fact, you can see pictures of it on my GTZ garages. So GTZ garages sent me up a tuned pipe, and I'll actually show you guys what that is in my next video. I'll do like a little, one of my subscribers had asked me about, a tuned pipe, what it looks like for a KE 100, and I'll kind of show that in there. All right, I'll do that on my next video if I remember correctly. There's also, I want to talk to you guys about another pipe. So it's not a tuned pipe. It's another pipe that will work on your bike quite nicely. You have to do a little bit of a modification, small modification to it, which is the mount. But the Suzuki TC90 pipe is a great pipe and can be modified just by the mounts to fit on your KE 100. And I'm going to be doing that because I have a, in fact, I'll show it to you guys. It's the chrome one hanging up in my shop. But I will show you guys that pipe. It will fit right on a KE 100, and the mounts are only like an inch off. You can literally make a bracket to make this work. I mean, it's close. And it's the shape of it, the way it comes around and compresses. You're going to like it. Yes, the hooker, I have a cheaper hooker expansion chamber for my KE 100. It looks just like the hooker one, but it's not a hooker. It's a Kawasaki Torque something, Torque Master or something like that. I forgot what the name of it was, but it's on the GTZ Garages sponsored that one, that video. Yeah, the 175. What I'm going to show you guys on my performance video, even if you have a 175 or a 100, the modifications and what that you can do to these little two strokes to get monster power is sickening. Okay, with a little bit of time and patience, you can make monster power by doing very little. And I'm going to show you guys how to do all that. I'm going to take a spare motor I have, a spare KE 100 motor, and I am pretty much going to max it out. And I'm talking deck to height on the cylinder, and I'll get into all that, porting it out, boring it out, and when you bore an engine, okay, like 10 thousandths over, you're not going to feel that power. So you don't really have to worry about boring out a KE 100. It's really not going to help you. So the cylinder that I bored out had some scoring in it. So I bored that aluminum cylinder out and had a reconcile for my KE 102. You can literally save yourself some time and money by not boring out your bike. If you're only going 10 thousandths over, you will never feel 10 thousandths over at all. Okay? Because, oh, it's a 51cc and the bike is a 49. You're not, trust me, you're not going to feel it. You're not going to feel it at all. The power is going to be made in the ports. It's going to be made in your transfer ports that go around your cylinders. It's going to be made in the way you induct that fuel and air into the top of the cylinder and how fast you do it. Two strokes gain their power out of the exhaust. You know, the custom exhaust, the timing of that, the ignition system you're using. Those are where the power is going to be made. Yeah, the clutch basket. Yep. I have the other style clutch basket. I changed mine over to the steel one because it's more robust. The motocross ones are using aluminum. In fact, I'll be showing that also in my video, the difference between a motocross clutch and a KE100 clutch. So if your points are not set correctly, the bike will be laggy. You'll have a loss of power. You'll it won't run quite right. You'll have hard time starting it. When you accelerate with it, and you come on, stop now. When you accelerate with the bike, you'll lose power. Like it'll bog. It won't have the timing won't be there. You know, and you'll notice it's one of the signs of incorrect timing is when you go to race it up, it'll be laggy. Then when you do it slowly, the bike will slowly climb. You know what I mean? Like the RPMs will slowly, gradually come up without the hesitation. That's a good sign of the points being out of adjustment. When should you check your points? I do my points on my bikes yearly. Okay, I check them. So you don't need to replace your points every year. Every year at the beginning of the season, I check them. Check my gap and reset them. Okay, and I do an evaluation. So what you're looking for, you know the round spot on the points where they make contact? You want to look for discoloration there. If they look like brand new, you don't need to replace them. But if they start to wear, and what do they look like when they wear? They got like a cone grooved into them, and there's a cone up top, and that right there is transfer from arcing. Okay, that arc is non-conductive. Okay, so instead of being that whole circle part where it makes contact, being a conductor, which means they make contact. Okay, when it starts to wear that cone in there, now you have less area for contact, and you lose power that way. Most points get thrown away before they're even due. All right. Oftentimes, you can go ahead and just clean them and regap them. So I always, every year, at the beginning of the season, I take the bikes out, I pull my cover off, and check my points for gap, wear, and make sure that they're 100%. It's just I don't know what the name of the material is. It looks like it's just a regular metal to metal contact. Now, what causes that wear, that cone, is a bad condenser. So when that condenser goes out, it arcs more. All right. Well, carburetor float adjustment it can cause loss of power at top end if it's set too what do you call it there. So if the float is incorrectly adjusted, it won't let in enough fuel, or it's letting in too much. So an incorrect float adjustment, if it's set too high, it will let too much fuel in, and then you'll get flooding, hard starting, hesitation, and bog. And also, if it's set too low, okay, what happens is it doesn't get enough fuel. So that can result in a lean condition. The engine will run extremely well, but it will be overheating, and it will run out of gas. So you'd be like, "Oh, this thing! If I let it sit for a few minutes, I can restart the bike." That could be a float adjustment thing as well. excessive speed, So the float either way can cause problems. You want to have your float set because the idea of the float is to maintain the fuel level in the bowl. So once again, like if you have a lean condition, so if your float is set too low, it's only going to allow a little bit of fuel in. When you're racing it, your bike is going to drink that fuel faster than the float can allow fuel to come in. So what will happen is it'll be like, wow, it would just rip. But you could, it won't not always have it, but you could create a lean condition. Um, so you want to make sure you get those floats set. And on the KE 100, you can use a quarter. I showed that in my video how to to the top of the pontoon with the thing upside down. Yeah, it could be silver. I'm really not sure. I never got into what they're made out of. I've always just kind of looked at them and just checked them out. It's doesn't they're not silvery looking. It looks like just a regular standard flat piece of contact material, um, metal to metal, when they contact. I know that the condenser is there to what do you call it there to stop the arc. And when that goes bad, it creates that arc and starts to burn a hole. So it could be silver. It could be like a very like a nickel. It could be. I think it's a nickel because it doesn't look like a silver. It looks more like a nickel. So if it was a nickel plate, it would do that too. But once or realistically, James, it would depend on where they came from. I'm sure different companies would use different materials, but they all share the same characteristics. Yeah, it could be copper. I really never got into figuring. Well, I never had to. You know what I mean? I've always just looked at them and said, okay, this ain't right. This is correct. We're gonna go from there. So yeah, that's what I would do. I would check them, see what they're burning, and note if they were arcing to the point where they were starting to burn in, then I would go ahead and replace them. And if they were burning in, I would replace the condenser as well. Yeah, give that a shot. And I have plenty of videos on how to tune your carburetor, like how to set them up, carburetor adjustment, carb talk videos. In fact, I think those are on my playlist. Oil injector tank. I would not pre-mix a 32-to-1. That's too light. These bikes are 25-to-1. And pre-mixing them will destroy the rotary valve, and will ruin the crankshaft bearing on if you're sitting on the bike on the right side. Um, that rotary valve literally floats. If you look at the rotary valve, it slides on. Okay, when that injector is injecting oil, now that rotary. So you got here's your engine block, and then here's your oil, your housing for your rotary valve. Okay, there's a gap in between them. That rotary valve spins around, and there's a hole where your fuel goes, where your air and fuel mixture goes into your engine. Okay, so that rotary valve is constantly passing that. When you premix, okay, now your air and fuel is going from your carburetor right through to the hole. It's not hitting the rotary valve. All right, that rotary valve is designed to float on a cushion of oil on both sides. That oil injector keeps that happening. So that is why it keeps pumping even when it's not, even when the rotary valve is closed. It keeps pumping. It doesn't stop pumping because that rotary valve has to float on a cushion of oil. It is like a capacitor, yes. It takes in a charge and then it sends it up to the coil. That is essentially the thing of it. And the points don't spark when the points close. it sparks when the points open. It creates a collapse on the system, and then the voltage drops from the primary coil inside the ignition coil to the secondary coil, and that's what changes it from 6 volts to say 25,000 volts or 30,000 volts by the number of windings in the coil. So that's one of those cool things. Yeah, a capacitor. So a CDI is literally capacitor discharge ignition, and it does just that. That charge coil charges it. The transistor, it uses a transistor instead of points. See, the points ignition system and a CDI are not much different. They have a charge coil down bottom, both of them do. They send the power up to capacitors or condensers, same thing. Okay. Now, on a points ignition, the points open up and it allows the collapse in the system. The power drops from not drops, but jumps from the primary coil to the secondary coil and creates the high voltage. Now, on a CDI, capacitor discharge ignition, you have your charge coil, it feeds that capacitor, and it uses a switching transistor. Okay, that's electronic switch. All right, so points are mechanical switch that open manually, and the CDI is done electronically, and then that sends it up to the coil. And the same thing happens in the ignition coil. Primary voltage jumps to secondary voltage, and pow, spark. Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you. So the points are made from silver, platinum, and tungsten. Okay, well, there you go. That's why. So that's good. So they got good contact. That's other than gold, that would be tungsten is definitely a solid thing. But they burn a hole, not a hole, but a cone into them when they go. Yep, thanks Google. Thanks again to Google. Yep. So that's what the contacts, and they clean up pretty easy. So if they're flat and they're solid, run them. Well, it depends on the bike you have, Ling. But on the KE100s, the KMs, they say from 12 thousandths to 14 thousandths. So, me personally, I go for 13 right in the middle, and I've never had a problem. This way, if it wears out a little bit, if your gap wears, it's going to wear to 14 thousandths. That'll get you right through the year. Then when you bring it out, you can check it and reset your points to 13. One of those cool things, So it's always nice to have that. Go for the middle. Whenever you're doing specifications and they tell you it's from this to this, go for the middle. That way, if it wears a little bit, it wears to that. And it's always, like I said, I've always just replaced them. I clean them if they're smooth, replace them if they're bad, and replace them in pairs, condenser and points. Never just one, because I'll tell you, you'll do it again. I had a gentleman say to me one time, "How do you get the flywheel off?" With a flywheel tool. Well, I don't want to buy a flywheel tool. Well, if you don't want to buy the flywheel tool, then you're not going to be able to take that off properly. Well, is there another way? So then I'll get a message later on. Kevin, do you have a flywheel for sale? Well, what'd you do? I hit it with a hammer. Why would you do that? I didn't want to buy a tool. Well, if you can't afford the tool, you can't afford the bike. The tool is only $15. And if you have a bike like this, you're gonna need that tool more than once to do your points. So you want to make sure you buy your tune-up kit and keep them clean. Keep them in a safe, in a place where you know where they're gonna be. Like for me, I keep mine right beside my bed in my high side table. No, just kidding. But no, seriously, no, just kidding again. But no, you want to keep your tools clean and where you know where they are. So when you go to do it again, you will have to replace the points again. Depending upon your riding, depending upon how many miles you put on the bikes and how they wear, because you can never predict how they're going to wear. I mean, they're going to wear however they want to wear. I mean, no, see, the idea is for the contacts to be perfectly straight and come down together. I've seen points where they're kind of at an angle and they wear funky, so now they're worn like this when they're contacting. You want to make sure that the best of your ability, you can see that they're flat and that they're not wearing unevenly. No, you don't want a double condenser. That takes away from it at that point. You only need one condenser. The way the ignition system is made, it's the same as the way in the what do you call it? The old cars were. Points ignition was a very simple thing. You go to your parts store, you say I need a set of points, and I need a condenser, and they will send you that. And then when you're in there, you do it all at that one time, and then you gap it, you set it, you forget it. Ultrasonic parts cleaner is on my bucket. Nice. Yeah, the ultrasonic cleaner is you can buy a cheap one. I have an industrial one. I use mine all the time. But if you're not gonna be doing bikes like I do, like crazy amounts of carburetors, go get yourself a Harbor Freight one. The other thing too, this is gonna sound kind of dumb, and it's true. It's true. Dumb, but it's true. When you're going online looking for an ultrasonic cleaner, type in jewelry cleaner because ultimately that's what it is. It's a jewelry cleaner. So check that out. Check that out. Check out the jewelry cleaners. That right there is where you'll find the ultrasonic cleaners. But for some reason, some of them are cheaper, and I don't know why. Ultrasonic cleaner is an ultrasonic cleaner, but that's how they have them. I don't know. Could be me. Could be Maybelline. I don't know. But yeah, that's a great tool to have. Pressure testers are always good. Compression tester. You definitely want to. Yes, points gap does affect timing. If the gap is too big, it could be too late. If it's too small, it'd be too advanced. And what'll happen with that is, like I said, if your gap is off, you'll have a bog or a hesitation, or you'll have a hard start. The bike was designed for the timing that it has by the manufacturer, and they take everything into consideration. The degrees of where the firing's gonna have to take place. See, I don't know if you know or not, but your spark does not fire when the piston gets all the way at the top of the cylinder. It doesn't happen. It happens before it gets to the top of the cylinder. So as it's coming around, the piston, as the crankshaft is coming around, before it gets to the top of the cylinder, it fires, it compresses, and the whole detonation, and that's what gives you your power stroke. If it did it when it got to the top, the crankshaft will get a straight down pound, and it would just kick back. So it actually fires before top dead center, not at top dead center. So if you look at your flywheel, you'll see a T, that's for your ignition timing, and then you'll see the letter F. That's where it fires. So when it comes around. Well, you don't on the KE, depends on what bike you have, but you don't want to advance or retard the timing. You want to set the timing to the manufacturer's specification because everything is timed. Your ports on your cylinder are timed. Your where the piston passes that port, you don't want to have that spark plug fire when that port is still open. Because just after that port, the intake port is when it fires. Yep, bring it right over, buddy.
Can I have my iPad?
Yes.
Can I play Roblox Among
No,
Us?
you can watch a video.
Okay.
Here you go.
Continue my game.
Yeah, here you go. So yeah, you want to make sure you're setting your timing and you plug your spark plug gap and your points gap to the specifications because it's all time. You'll get, if your bike is stock, you'll get maximum power out of it. Advancing it or retarding it will not, it'll take away from it. Yeah, you'd be spitting something out of the intake. It won't like it. Let's put here that way. You want to make sure your timing is set properly and your bike will run properly. Too often, I see people trying to take these KE100s and make them into a motocross bike, and they're not designed that way. Yep, I did. I used the from an RX-50. Yes, you can add a charging coil to that. Yep, you can, Scott. You can do. They actually have, if you get the GT80 with all the lights, and you get it from a 1980. So my red bike, my red GT80, has the charge coil for the lights and the CDI ignition. That bike that I got from Harvey Spooner, the yellow one, the GT80 yellow one, that's straight off road. That doesn't have a charge coil because it had no light. Yeah, you can do that. The RX-50 is a street bike. That is a basically it was made to look like the Yamaha Virago, like my big 1100, and that had all the lights all over it. So it's pretty. That's a pretty cool. That's a pretty cool bike. I can't wait to finish that off. Nice, good job, Tyler. Yeah, that's a fun XR 600R. That's a nice bike. 1985, right in the years I like too. Well, guys, it's 9 o'clock. I have to end it here. I have to go make supper for my wife. She's on her way home from work, and my little guy's got to get tucked in and go to bed. So I went a little longer than I normally do tonight. And I want to say a special thank you to all you guys, and a special thank you for this. Huh? What?
Is it over?
Yeah, just about.
Hello. Bye.
I just want to say a special thank you to you guys, and thank you again for that super chat. That's awesome. I really appreciate all the support that I get from you guys. You guys have been absolutely amazing. And I love talking with you guys and hanging out with you guys, and I cannot wait to keep taking this channel to new levels. So, Andrew, you gotta go get in bed, buddy.
Are you gonna shove me?
Yeah, I will shove you on the bed. Thank you, Tony. I appreciate that. Andrew, go. I'll be in there in a minute. Go get in your pajamas. I appreciate all the help. I appreciate. Thank you again, Tony. I appreciate all your support, all your subscribers, sharing my channel, sharing this channel, and just being with me on these builds, and your comments, and you guys are just amazing. And it's because of you guys I want to keep doing all this. And I say this all the time, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I never thought this channel was gonna take off like it did. And a different pair, not them. I didn't think this channel was going to take off like it did, and it's grown above and beyond. When I started this channel, I thought the most I was going to get is 500 subscribers, and now we're approaching 4,700. And now I'm like, okay, how can I make this channel even better? And it's because of you guys and your enthusiasm of what we're doing here as a community, as friends, and just building these bikes is amazing to me. So a special thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate it. Well, guys, I'm going to end it here. Thank you, and I will see you guys hopefully next Tuesday night. And it'll be the Tuesday before Christmas, right? No, or that the weekend.
Oh,
You almost hit someone with that cranium again. You can't just do that to these people who want to ride bikes and we smack with a cranium. All right, guys.
Sorry, everybody. Bye.
See you guys later. Thank you.
I like that video.
Lots of old times.
I like that video.
Have a good night, guys. I'm out.
I'm out.